hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the Schwa Mill. We are here to take accent files that you send to us and then review them to help you sound more natural next time that you speak in American English. And to guide you in this process, there is me. Hello, my name is Geoff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the four keys to a natural sound in American English, including placement, pitch, breath, trying to weaken your consonant sounds and strengthen your vowels. I have two new audio files for us to go through, but I did want to start just with a quick note that we are hosting a workshop on Thursday, 9:30 a.m. New York, that's going to be focusing on those four key aspects: placement, pitch, breath, and trying to weaken your consonant sounds. So if this is new for you or you're trying to achieve a more natural sound in American English and you're trying to get feedback from me, I hope that you sign up for that workshop. Currently it's $15 per a seat, and I got about 4 seats left, I believe, so we're about half full. So if you want a seat, please do try to reserve it soon, because we're going to be going over things that are going to be fundamental to consider, honestly, when you're speaking any language, but we're going to see what those kind of settings are for American English. For more information about that, you can check the video description. Today, like I mentioned, I have two files for us to be looking at. So let's take a look, starting with our first one right here.
Also,
One sec.
also note, I'm switching over the Wake Up American stream to a format more similar to the Schwa Mill.
I'm going to play that one more time.
Also note, I'm switching over the Wake Up American stream to a format more similar to the Schwa Mill.
Okay, so some things I like about this, I can hear a lot of breath and resonance coming through, so I can feel like there's some engagement of the diaphragm, which is great. See if you can catch that resonance when I say it. I'm kind of like that. You can hear that air coming through.
Also note, I'm switching over the Wake Up American stream to a format more similar to the Schwa Mill.
You can especially hear, for instance, that thing like to that part. You can really hear the breath coming through. In general, I also think the placement is staying low. There are a couple moments where the placement is going high, so there's some vowel sounds that we'll want to be paying attention to. Let's see if we can identify what those are.
Also note, I'm switching over the Wake Up American stream to a format more similar to the Schwa Mill.
Okay, two major sounds right here just happening on. I'm hearing it happening on the E sound. You can hear it, for instance, on the word stream. And you can also hear it on, there's another word. Let me try to identify it for you.
Also note, I'm switching over the Wake Up.
Switch. So what's happening is we have a short I sound in American English, which sounds like like in this, or quit, or big, But what we see with a lot of students is the placement tends to go higher. And a lot of other languages do not have this short I sound. It's relatively unique to English. And so what a lot of people do, if they can't make the short I sound, or if they struggle with it or have difficulties with it or just can't hear it, is they switch it to an E sound. So a word like switch becomes sweech. A word like live becomes leave. A word like this becomes these, and things like that. So we got to make sure that those short I's have a lower placement and a lot more air coming through, and don't switch over to a different vowel sound completely. A big tip for the short I sound, if you're having trouble with that is you can bite the side of your tongue. I don't know if you could see that, my tongue in between my teeth. Okay. Having contact with your tongue and your top teeth can be helpful for making this sound. And again, as you do that position, then try to make this sound just like and not like an E. Okay. The other thing, again, that you want to watch out for, too, is that your placement doesn't go too high. For some people, the issue is that the placement goes high, and send that if I project it low, sounds fine, but if I project it at a higher spot, like that's going to sound closer to an E sound. Okay, so we have to watch out for that. I have one other major comment for this audio.
Also note, I'm switching over the Wake Up American stream to a format more similar to the Schwa Mill.
Okay, I would say the pitch patterns. So there's lots of thought groups here, which is fine. But what I'm hearing is that as we transition from one thought group to the next, we're not adding a whole lot of elements of contrast necessarily. So the result is basically a sentence that sounds flat across it, and it's just repeating some patterns you can hear, especially towards the middle. I'll try to highlight that section for you.
Also note, I'm switching over the Wake Up American stream to a format more similar to the Schwa.
Like, I'm switching over to Wake Up American stream to a format that's more similar to versus like um I'm switching over the format of the Wake Up American stream to something that's more similar to. So you can see there what I may have jumbled the words, but like the idea is that we're going like down, 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 and then maybe up. It's like I'm switching over the format of the Wake Up American stream to something that's a little bit more familiar to or more similar to. So we just make sure when you change the thought group, change the pitch, just like I did there. Change the thought group, change the pitch, change the pitch. When you change the thought group, so it's just having those sequences. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to have stretches of speech that are going to run together and sound very similar to each other, and that can cause people to ask you to repeat yourself because they're just not understanding. Okay. So just some basic comments there. Thank you so much for sending that file. It's greatly appreciated. Before we take a look at our second file, I did want to just highlight a question that came into our group. So if you don't know, we have a group on Telegram. This is where people send audio files. So if you are like, hey, I want to get my audio checked, I want to see thoughts on my pronunciation, you can go to the video description and you'll see a link that says like free Telegram group. And that's where people send in audio files, and I pick two to use for these streams. There was a question that came in. I'm looking through. We talked about the phrase "move on to it" yesterday. Ooh, we did get a question here. The question was this: is it bad when your throat starts hurting after talking too much? What are your thoughts on vocal fry? That's from Alyssa or Lisa. Thank you so much for sending that. One of the things we talked about in the group is that when you're studying pronunciation and if you're studying placement and you're studying breath, if these are new concepts for you, if we don't do it right, what can happen is we can actually cause physical strain or pain through our throat and chest area. We don't want that to happen. The minute you're studying pronunciation and things start to hurt is the minute you need to take a break, stop. It should never be painful. I'm okay with uncomfortable because something is new or feels a little strange or weird. I am not okay with pain. You can do some real damage to yourself if you're not careful, just like when you're working out. So we have to be mindful. If you ever start feeling pain or just massive discomfort when you're practicing pronunciation, then we need to change tactics because something is not working. The second half of that question was related to vocal fry. What are your thoughts on vocal fry? Vocal fry, if you don't know, what I just did was kind of vocal fry, that kind of like cracking, popping sound. In general, vocal fry is not necessary for an American accent. It is characteristic of some accents in America, including some accents coming out of, for instance, like California. I will also say that vocal fry is a phenomenon that appears to be more common among female speakers than male speakers. But not every accent has it, and it's not necessary to do it. If you are interested in it and you want to learn more, or maybe even apply it to your own speech, what you can do is you can look up vocal fry. You can also look up, there is an accent in the US called a Valley Girl accent, Valley Girl. And you can find more information about it there. One of the features of Valley Girl accent can be vocal fry, in addition to uptalking or using too much rising intonation. It's just a note there in case you're trying to find more information. All right, let's take a look at our second audio file for today.
Yeah, that was actually my first thought too, because for, the people I'd say that I sound really British.
Okay, let's play it one more time.
Yeah, that was actually my first thought too, because for, the people I'd say that I sound really British.
Okay. I like how fluid this sounds. We're really doing a good job of connecting things together, and I really like the pitch contrast. We're touching some highs and we're also touching some lows. We need the full range of pitches when we speak in American English. See if you can catch all the pitches being used here.
Yeah, that was actually my first thought too, because
Like like actually my first thought too. So like you can hear the high pitch on actually and then the low pitch on two. Very common sort of pattern there. I think that helps a lot. I think there are a couple places where the placement's going high. There are some vowel sounds as a result that sound less American and more characteristic of other forms of English, for instance, like Australian English or things like that. You can hear it, for instance, on the oo sounds on words like to,
Yeah, that was actually my first thought too, because for
to, to. You can literally hear that placement shift from a low position over towards kind of front of the mouth. To versus to. One thing with this oo sound, I will note, a lot of our languages, when we say the oo sound, because almost every language has an oo sound, you may be rounding your lips like ooh, ooh, ooh. But in American English, it's not necessarily do that. You can keep straight lips, ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, and that may help you keep your placement down. I would say overall, I think the placement in general could be lower for this. I hear some resonance, I hear some fluency, but it does feel slightly high.
yeah, that was actually my first thought too, because for
Like, there's actually my first thought to take like a little phrase. If you have high placement, just as a little experiment, you can try moving things down multiple times. Okay, it's like my first thought, my first thought, my first thought, my first thought, my first thought. And I'm not saying you need to, speak from that really low one, but just by trying to understand what your range is, that can get you an idea of where things are. Or you could do it with a more common phrase, like for instance, like "How are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? How are you?" That sounds great. 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 Just practice that little exercise to see what your different placement levels are. Get more comfortable with your body. See what everything is possible that you can do, and what sounds you can produce. Some final thoughts on this audio.
yeah, that was actually my first thought too, because for the people I'd say that.
I want to hear the actually part again.
Yeah, that was actually my first thought too, because for the people I'd say that I sound really.
Yeah, I think those are going to be my main comments. Oo sounds and overall placement, I think, could still continue to be a little bit lower if that's something that we desire. Just because, again, American English does overall trend low. All right.
That fits per. That fits per.
Sorry, that's from our my group class coaching. So that concludes the audio files that were sent to me. So our next stream will be on Friday. So we're doing a Schwa Mill on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. So if you would like to have audio included for the next episode, I encourage you to join our free group and send some audio so we can take a look at. And lastly, again, we are doing a workshop on Thursday. You can see it right there at the bottom, 9:30 a.m. New York. We're going to be just focusing on the 4 basics of American English pronunciation, including placement, pitch, breath, trying to weaken consonant sounds in order to strengthen your vowel sounds. It'd be great to work with you there if that's something that you are interested in. Once more, my name is Geoff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of those 4 key concepts. I will see you guys later. I hope you have a good day, have a good night, and a good afternoon. Bye.